Classroom environment and the culture. What is the relationship of student achievement and the learning environment and culture? Teachers form expectations for students' performance and tend to treat students differently depending on these expectations. Research strongly supports this assertion. To establish a student-centered learning culture, teachers must adjust their expectations and instructional practices so that all students can learn to a higher level. The classic Hawthorne study at Western Electric's plant in Cicero, Illinois, 1927 to 1932, provided data that suggested that teachers' expectations could greatly influence students' performances. Like the workplace, the classroom is a powerful social network, and students' feelings about both their teachers and classmates have important implications for how much they are willing to exert themselves to succeed at learning. As with adult employees, students' aptitudes are less important than their attitudes about schoolwork in predicting their academic achievement. Likewise, in the Pygmalion in the Classroom classic study with a Harvard professor and an elementary principal, the investigators told elementary teachers that based on students' standardized test scores, certain children were late bloomers and could be expected to be growth spurters. In truth, the test did not exist, and the children designated as spurters were chosen randomly. Nonetheless, findings showed that changes in teacher expectations can produce changes in student behavior. When teachers expect students to do well, they do well. When teachers expect students to fail, they tend to fail. Studies from the University of California at LA and Johns Hopkins also confirmed that teacher expectations about students strongly affect how teachers treat students in ways that create self-fulfilling prophecies. Students treated as if they are high achieving do so in high achieving ways. Students treated as if they were low achieving performed as low achievers. Expectations create reality. In a circular fashion, students' and teachers' perceptions and expectations both reflect and determine their achievement goals. They influence the strategies they use to meet these goals, skills, energy, and other resources they use to apply these strategies, and the rewards they expect from making or not making this effort. And as research shows, teachers' behaviors reflecting these expectations are related to measures of student achievement. Developing teacher instructional capacities pays off because the more effectively teachers teach, the higher level of achievement all students gain. And the less accurate, and this is important, the less accurate teachers' initial predictions about who will or who will not achieve well. That September prediction may not be accurate in June. Each player's positive expectation influences the other in a mutually reinforcing way. As observed with the Pygmalion study, when teachers treat all students as high achievers, providing them with similar rigorous content, similar praise, similar feedback, and similar demands for actual effort and product, students perform and achieve well. So, rethinking teacher expectations, there are several different beliefs and principles. And these were formed by Carolyn Tomlinson and Edwin Lou Javis, two educators concerned with classroom equity and high standards. When enacted in a classroom, practices school-wide and over time, these expectations can reboot school cultures in ways that increase every student's learning. So what are they? Number one, accept that human differences are not only normal, but also desirable. Each person has something of value to contribute to the group, and the group is lessened without that contribution. As a microcosm of our world, the classroom should be culturally and economically inclusive and support students in making meaning in multiple ways. We should also develop a growth mindset. Teachers must logically challenge the preconception that mainly affluent students have high ability levels. When teachers expect student growth and provide students with clear learning targets, guidelines, feedback, and a safe learning environment, and also the message that each student has the capacity to do what is required for success, and teachers will support this effort, they can create learning experiences in which student effort, rather than background, is the greatest determiner of student success. Students work hard and intelligently and will then accomplish their goals. Understand student cultures, interests, needs, and perspectives. People are shaped by their backgrounds. Respecting students means respecting their backgrounds, races, and cultures. To this end, teachers need to understand how each student approaches learning and craft an environment that respects and responds to what each student brings to the classroom. It's the old treat others as you want to be treated. Through conversations with students and observations of them at work, teachers develop a learning profile about the way each likes to learn, personal interests, and varied ways of reaching the goal. Then, teachers purposefully select instructional approaches that respond to them to ensure high levels of success for each student. All learning aligns with essential learning targets, has intellectual rigor. They are both standards-friendly and student-friendly. Create a rigorous learning opportunity. Teachers begin with clear ideas about what learning should occur as a result of a lesson or unit aligned with assessments and standards. Then teachers connect students with a curriculum by transforming student boring topics into student-friendly concepts that have enduring value beyond the classroom, lie at the heart of the discipline, require analysis, have the potential to engage in students, and span various cultures. Give students a reason for studying curriculum. Is career technical education not designed to do this? Understand that students have differing points for entering and moving through the curriculum. For students to take intellectual risks, classrooms need to feel safe to students from a wide range of cultural, racial, and economic backgrounds. Effective teachers seek multiple ways for students to show what they know, and every student needs occasions to shine as intellectual contributors. When students fall behind, misunderstand, or move beyond expectations, teachers are ready to take appropriate action, scaffolding for students who need extra work with prerequisites, and extending depth and scope for students who are ready to surge ahead. Formative assessment provides ongoing data for personalizing learning for both struggling and advancing students. Create flexible classroom routines and procedures that attend to student learning needs. Teachers provide occasions for a range of student needs and differences. Teachers select times when a class works as a whole, when students should work independently, and when they should work in groups. At key times in the learning cycle, teachers decide when they need to work with a part of the class more intensively. They teach students when and how to help each other, as well as how to direct their own work effectively. Such flexible approaches can increase students' achievement. And finally, be an analytical practitioner. Teachers who create student-centered learning cultures consistently reflect on their practices for evidence that these are working for each student and adjusting when they are not. Keenly attuned to their students, teachers notice when they show positive behaviors and new learnings. Then teachers provide helpful descriptive feedback so students can successfully recall or repeat the skill, knowledge, or behavior that serves them well. They ask students to help teachers understand what will help make students most successful, and they shape a classroom atmosphere that maximizes each student's individual growth and the growth of the group as a whole. Of course, as much as they care about each student, teachers cannot personalize every part of the curriculum. Expecting each student to develop high-level skills in numeracy, literacy, communication, and critical thinking is non-negotiable. Learning outcomes linked to learning standards and benchmarks cannot be compromised. Although receptive to student interests and needs, teachers cannot personalize the desired learning outcomes. And for students enrolled in courses with high-stakes exit exams, like a web exam or an industry certificate, teachers cannot jeopardize the student's success on the exam by omitting required content. Effective teachers can nonetheless hold to expected learning outcomes while still permitting many occasions for personalization. Insightful teachers learn from where the flexibility exists to customize the curriculum or the instructional approaches to connect with individual students, and then they do it. Add to these teacher personal beliefs the understanding that community matters. Community expectations are so important. Investigators have found that when a community pressures its school to set high expectations, student performance improves. Whether the push for student achievement comes from parents or from teachers, principals, when the community and school share high expectations for student achievement in a clear, focused mission, they have accompanying behaviors and positive impact on student achievement. Likewise, high teacher expectations for student achievement work best when they are shared and reflected in a school's cultural norms. Students thrive when they are immersed in an environment defined by shared growth-enhancing values. When students attend schools where beliefs and expectations differ from classroom to classroom and hallway to hallway, they do become confused. At the same time, inconsistent values in the classroom demoralize teachers who suspect that their colleagues are undermining them. Without consensus on high academic and behavioral expectation and high support for all students, students may comply only minimally with each teacher's expectations. But students do not develop the internalized habits of mind and consistent behaviors unless teachers and administrators reinforce these same principles and expectations all day long in varied settings. This helps to explain why students can behave so poorly outside their classroom or when a substitute is in charge. When the teachers, the embodiments of these positive attitudes and expectations, are out of sight, their norms disappear as well. Children are likely to take values seriously when they perceive at least a general consensus on them among the adults for whom they respect. I hope this helps you understand student-centered learning culture.